Cameron, welcome to the show. Welcome to Biz Buzz here in Marlow FM.
Hi, Wisdom. Good to talk to you again.
Now, Cameron, you're a former Special Ops Officer from the Met Police, and part of your duties incorporated cybercrime. And now you're practicing helping other people through your companies Herstel Limited and Cracking IT.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, this summer, companies ranging from the adultery website Ashley Madison to car maker Fiat Chrysler, entertainment giant Sony, retailers Dixon's have all been hit by cyber crimes, and TalkTalk is the latest. Now, cyber criminals only target big companies, isn't that so?
No, that's not true. Small to medium-sized businesses are just as attractive as the larger companies, and one of the big advantages of a cyber criminal attacking a small to medium-sized company is that they quite often will lack the knowledge, the resources, and the cash to bring themselves out of the problem that cyber hacking has caused them. And also they won't have the ready cash to pursue the individuals through a civil court. As well as if you can successfully frustrate a small to medium-sized business's cash flow, the likelihood of their survival is very small. So this is an issue that we've encountered a lot. You know, more recently, we find that we're getting reports probably once a week, whereas 2 or 3 years ago, we'd get probably one a month.
Now, what are the different ways that cyber criminals can attack or target a company?
Well, the most common way is through phishing or through sending malware or spyware through email. An example I've had of that in the past is where an individual will send a tailored virus to the target computer, and what they'll do is once the user opens up the attachment, which in this particular case was disguised as a PDF document, it'll give the attacker full access to your computer. And some of the things that they do is they'll download your hard drive to what's called a command and control server, and they'll have access to all your company files, your client data, your invoicing, your billing, your online bank account details, and many more things that you really wish that nobody else had access to.
When you say phishing, you mean those emails that people get that seem to be from reputable companies but are not. So what you're saying is that actually people can be targeted, companies, businesses can be targeted, even if they don't have a permanent presence online.
No, and an example of that would be, could you imagine a local man that is a double glazer, for example? He might not have a website, but he probably he puts out his adverts locally in the papers, and most of his trade and business will come from email. And so attacking somebody like that is very attractive for these cyber criminals, because that same individual will keep all their banking passwords and all their personal detail on that email. What you can do is, once you've sort of trapped that individual, they really have two options. Either one is they'll try and sell their data back to them for £10,000, let's, for argument's sake. Or what they'll do is they'll use that individual's details to clone their existence and take out loans and bank accounts and have access to their accounts and absolutely frustrate them with their cash flow.
Cameron, is this something that's only happening in London and for the big companies, or is it also happening in Berkshire and Buckinghamshire?
It's happening more and more in Berkshire and Buckinghamshire. It's definitely spreading out of the city. More and more people are, through coming out the back end of the recession that the country has seen, there's a lot more people that are starting up their own companies and working from home, or from working from rented office space. And so I've certainly seen a trend in more people working from home or a home office. And so these people are targets as well, because their work email will include a lot of personal data as well, which is perfect for these cyber criminals.
Yeah. And I've certainly seen an increase, certainly amongst my clients, of people who are reported to be getting emails from HMRC, which are just not from HMRC, but as you say, they're phishing. Now, what preventative action can small businesses take to help themselves?
Well, in my opinion, it's a very simple solution to how you can combat this, and that would be to get a reputable IT company to take the burden of your IT issues away from you. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to go for the biggest and best, and IT isn't expensive. In fact, the price of IT has come down quite a lot over the last few years. But what you must remember is that in IT, there's no such thing as a shortcut, and there's no such thing as a bargain. And if something in IT is cheap, or it seems too easy, it probably is for a reason. So I'll give you an example. When you're setting up your email accounts, you shouldn't use things like Gmail and Yahoo or Hotmail for a business account. To buy a domain these days costs as little as £5. And then you can get all your emails hosted through Microsoft on what's called the Office 365 package, and the prices start from sort of £5, £6, £7 a month. And what essentially you're doing there is you're getting Microsoft to administer your emails. Now that's good for a number of reasons. Number one, if there's a problem with your emails, you can pick up the phone and you can talk to somebody. And number two, if you're using something common like Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail to run your company from, those are the easiest passwords to crack. Now, we ran a test on this with we did a joint venture with a company based in India, and we tried to see how easy it was to crack a Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, and AOL email account. And we set up 10 completely new fictitious emails with different providers. And we set up the most complex password you could ever imagine, be it alphanumeric with symbols, etc. And we actually found someone in India to break into each one of those email accounts, and the longest it took was 25 minutes. Even with a complicated password. And what's even more interesting about that is to crack all 10 of those passwords, it cost us $100. Well, it's a sobering thought, and there is no easy, if you run your company from a Gmail or a Hotmail or Yahoo, etc., they can be very good for personal use. And I'm certainly not saying that, they don't provide a good service, because they do. Interestingly enough, the hardest one to crack at the time we ran this test was Apple's iCloud. But at the time, we got through those passwords pretty quick. And we set this guy a challenge. In each one of the emails, we put specific documents in each one of them, and he emailed them all back to us in a very short space of time.
So passwords obviously important. It is useful to have a complicated password, but you're saying that it's better to use a more secure email system like Microsoft 365. Now, what about changing passwords every month? So I've heard people say that you should change them. I mean, I'm always afraid I'm going to forget it.
And that's a common problem. Is people forget their passwords. My strong recommendation is, if you're a Windows user, is to get a software, there's many different programs on the market. And what they do is you can get these password keepers. And so what they'll do is they will store and remember your passwords for you. You can have, the most complex, lengthy password ever, and they'll remember them for you. So whenever you log into, your specific sites that you log into, it'll pre-populate the password field for you. And if you're a Mac user, Apple Mac have got a very clever system called keychain access, and they store your passwords on the Apple's keychain. And all that information is held locally on your computer. Your passwords aren't being uploaded to a server somewhere, and there's plenty of people that don't like using these password keepers because they feel that the NSA and all those people have access to it, but it's not true. The password keepers, good ones, store the information locally on your hard drive and they encrypt the passwords.
You mentioned malware, spyware, keylogging earlier on, and phishing. How can people protect themselves from those sorts of threats?
My strong advice is just to use common sense. Somebody's sending you an email that you don't know who they are, and if you're a Windows user, you're getting an exe file, I wouldn't touch it. In fact, I wouldn't even open the email. If you're a Mac user, Macs are much harder to infect with a virus. It is becoming more common, recently, but it still is a lot safer than a Windows machine. But if you get an email that you don't recognize who the sender is, just treat with absolute caution. That would be my first advice, my first bit of advice. My second bit of advice would be, don't install anything from anybody that comes via email. If you've bought software and you're receiving the download key, then you'll be expecting that particular email. But certainly don't open an email from somebody that says, please find attached the latest version of Microsoft Office. There's no such thing as free software anymore. You pay for it one way or the other. And the third thing I would say is just pay attention to the language which is used within the email. Now, I've had an email before from a friend who says, please help me, I'm stuck in Spain, I've lost my password, and if you could just wire me to a Western Union account £300, I can go to the embassy and get my new password. But if you pay attention to the language that's contained within the emails, quite often the grammar or the spelling will be incorrect. And the reason for that is because most of the, and I'm not saying this is the case for every example, but more often than not, through my experience, it's people that are based either in Spain or they're based in Europe or somewhere in North Africa, and their English isn't very good. They're written English. Yeah. And if in doubt, if someone sends you an email and says, I'm stuck in Spain without my passport, just give them a call. Find out if it's true or not.
What at the start of your business can an IT company do to help you?
They can be extremely useful in managing your expectations, number one. Number two, they can help you, hosting your websites. They can help you. They can give you the best advice on where to go if you need a website designed and developed. But the first and the most important thing to any business, as we're living now in 2015, is emails. Email has overtaken Royal Mail. I get on average, I would say, about 200 emails a day. Probably of which about 90% of them I need to attend to. And this is, it's a common and an accepted form of communication in the business industry. So get your emails right, get it secure, and make sure that you're using someone that's reputable to set this up for you. Gone are the days when you can ask your friends or your partner's friends to set up your email accounts for you. It's just not good enough anymore.
And if things do go belly up, who are these companies that they should approach?
If it's criminal, then certainly go to the police and report it immediately. Unfortunately, my experience, Thames Valley Police, as well as the Metropolitan Police, their resources are limited. And like all the police forces up and down the country at the moment, they're very overstretched. And this certainly isn't within their priority, with the priority crimes in which they deal with. So always report it to the police. And if it's a civil matter, my strong advice would be to get someone in that can deal with what's happened quickly and efficiently. So that might be a combination of an investigative firm. It might be a combination of an IT company. It might be a lawyer that has good recommendations for you. But ignoring it will never, ever help the situation. And once you've been penetrated by a cyber attacker, the more time that goes by is more harms your business more and more and more. So you have to confront it straight away. And in any instance, as soon as you realize that you've been attacked, I would start changing passwords immediately.
If people want to contact you to get some advice and help, how will they contact you?
They can contact me in a number of ways. The easiest is to just get on my website, which is Herstel, spelled HERSTEL.co.uk. Just send an inquiry form. Alternatively, you could give us a call on our landline, which is 020 33 977 047.
Cameron, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Anytime, Wisdom. Good talking to you again. Cheers, bye.